guys, welcome back to Telepathy. Is it episode like 50 or something? I actually have no idea.
It's getting close.
49 maybe?
I think it might be 48 or 49, but I know it's not 50 yet, but once we get to 50, that'll be like a huge celebration.
Yes, we'll let you know. But if you didn't read the title, today's episode is about celebrity rebrands. And I guess telepathy
Which we wanted to announce that we are rebranding our entire Telepathy
I was just about to make a joke like
podcast.
that. We're rebranding as a monthly podcast. Just kidding. That's just like accidentally what has been happening.
Yeah.
We've been trying to find times to record, but with the play was last week for school. I can get into that later. And then I've been doing like SAT prep, and then AP exams are next week. So there's just a lot going on in this household at the moment. But of course, we still had to find time to talk about JoJo Siwa. I mean, just kidding, celebrity rebrands.
And by the way, I'm not leaving Europe. I'm staying here.
Cancel the flight home.
I said like the flight attendants are gonna have to like drag me onto the plane, but I heard from a real flight attendant that they do not have that service. And we'll
Just
leave
go
it
and
at
drag
that.
you off the plane. I'm just kidding. JK. Story time
More
in
on that
2
later.
years.
Yeah.
Well, like later equals 2 years. I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah, that was just something that we can't get into at the moment. But we're gonna start off our episode as we always do with our camp questions slash icebreakers. And it is my turn to come up with the question. So your name, your age, and I guess since it's tonight, what is your favorite Met Gala look or like theme or just like something Met Gala related?
Okay. My name is Anna. I'm 21, and I I really liked Blake Lively's Statue of Liberty one. Do
Oh
you remember
yeah,
that?
the
Where it
like
was like,
tarnishing or whatever.
yeah, it was like green, and then you like flip the cape down, and it turns into like the copper thing. I also love Grimes and Elon Musk's um appearance. I thought that's so random that they were like in a relationship, and I think about
Yeah.
that a lot. It's my Roman Empire.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Enzo. I'm 17 now. This is the first
Wait,
time.
oh my gosh.
I
I for
forgot.
I
Wait,
don't think I've
that's kind of
FaceTimed you
weird.
since your birthday. Happy late birthday.
Thanks. Um, I think my favorite Met Gala look is 2018 Nicki Minaj, the Heavenly Bodies theme, I think it was. Um, but just like with the whole era, it was kind of during that like hate train or whatever. And so coming as the bad guy in like it was just sort of that red outfit, and when she was like, the bad guy is here, and then she was like Queen June 15th, which it came
The
out like in August, but that's okay. It was still
way that you
iconic.
were like 10, or how old were you when that came out? Like 10?
Yeah, I was 10, but like still,
That's crazy.
it's okay.
I know, it's so funny though to think that you were only 10 when Queen came out.
I know, or I guess I was 11, freshly 11. Okay, music and TV shout outs.
Mm.
I
Ooh,
watched The Prom. You need to watch it. Just for
yes.
like
I forget, is it a movie or a TV show?
it's a movie. It's like a movie musical based on a Broadway musical from 2018, I
Oh.
think. But Meryl Streep is so good. Like I don't know, I just like love her, like all of her roles. I feel like she always just gives 100% or like 1,000%, honestly. So I'm shouting that
Mm-hmm.
out because I thought it was good. I think you'd like it. It kind of slows down a little bit. The first hour is very much like heavy musical numbers, and then it slows down. But I think you'd still really like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I definitely have to watch that. I haven't been watching, like, I haven't watched a single TV show, movie, or really even YouTube video in the past, like, 6 weeks since I've been here.
My letterbox
Um,
is starving. She's so empty.
yeah, mine is too. Um, music shout out for you. Did you see that yet?
I'm currently looking for that. I kind of said The Prom is like well, maybe I could do a song
Okay.
from The Prom. Honestly, yeah, It's Not About Me, by
Mm-hmm.
Meryl Streep slash Dee Dee, aka her character name.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, and I'll add that to the playlist, which you can talk about in just a moment.
I'm gonna add a few songs because it's been a few weeks.
Oh wait, I just remember that
And
Telepathy actually did get a rebrand.
yeah, it did. Yeah, I think did it really? It might have had a rebrand since the last time we recorded.
I
Like,
think
that's
so. It's
crazy.
been like bit. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, guys. Sorry about
Man,
that.
yeah, it's been a while. So I have a few songs. First off, like Taylor Swift's new album came out, which that's probably a sensitive topic for you, and so sorry,
I'm not a
but
hater.
did you
I'm
listen to
not.
it?
I actually didn't. I was given the vinyl for my birthday, so I will
Yeah,
listen
you
to
should
that.
actually. I'm serious. Like you should actually listen to it. It's really good, and the production is really good in my opinion. And it actually some of the production has some very like Lana Del Rey vibes.
Okay, once again, I'm
Um,
not a hater. I just,
you just need a break.
yeah, I just haven't been loving like everything recently.
It's like literally a mix of all of her albums. So and it also has a lot of folklore and Evermore vibes.
Okay, that's good
Um,
because I feel like those are honestly,
yeah,
I don't love
it is
pop music like that, I
yeah
guess.
yeah. It's not a lot of it isn't. A lot of it's a lot more like lyrical and yeah folklore Evermore lyrics with a mix of sounds from like all of her past albums. But I'm gonna recommend or I'm gonna put on the playlist. I really like all the songs, but I'm gonna put So High School on the playlist just because that one gets stuck in my head a lot, and the bridge is good and funny. Also, I been listening to like Paul McCartney a lot recently for some reason.
Oh, that's fun.
Um, but his album Ram I listened to, and there's a song called Another Day, which is really good, and it's like one of the best songs I've ever heard. And then also, since I went to Italy over the weekend, and I've had Salvatore by Lana Del Rey stuck in my head, of course, because I'm in that era. I used to not like that song that much, but now I really like it.
I do love that song. Like it's so it's the production is very haunting and I like it.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, those are the shout outs.
I'm also adding Pink Pony Club by Chapel Roan. I've been
Oh, I
listening to a
love
lot of
Chapel
her
Roan
recently.
recently.
I need to just like put this out there, but I have this not it's not a theory, but if Lady Gaga was a soprano, you get Chapel Roan. Like
She's really good. I'm glad that she's like finally getting recognition. And I'm gonna say this, like I, for some reason, was like a hater of her for like for like the past year before she like started getting more popular because I think I just like thought her music was silly. But then I actually like listened to it when she started getting more recognition after like Olivia Rodrigo, and I really like she's so good. It's just like recently I just feel like pop music is back in like a really good way. Like I actually feel like I'm enjoying pop music recently.
yeah, because I'm not a huge fan of that type of music typically, but
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to compare her to Lady Gaga because like Chapel Roan is Chapel Roan. But I do think that she reminds me of that kind of fun,
Mhm.
just very much like out there, like confident energy.
And she's like very unique. Yeah, like she's like there's not really anybody else like her, and she has a really good persona with like just like her look is very like it stands out, so I feel like she's just a really good like pop star. So I
Right, like she's just a star in the making, and so that's why I want to like go ahead and like shout out the songs because I'm just like she's
yeah.
just like you just look at her performing and you're like, oh, like she's a star.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see her live. I feel
I'm
like
trying to
she
get
it
tickets,
just
but
looks really
it's
fun.
expensive.
Really. Well, maybe she'll do a rebrand one day.
Ha
Ahaha.
ha ha ha.
Whoa. Wait, don't we have an episode about that?
Oh my
Oh
gosh, wait,
wait,
were we supposed to be recording
we're
that?
recording it right now.
Should we just get into it? I feel like the week recap,
Yeah.
like we'll need a whole episode to do another recap, but that was our last episode, so
Yeah. Short week recap. Short week recap though. I was in Rome over the weekend. I was in Barcelona the weekend before. Man, I only have 2.5 more. I literally only have two and a half more weeks in Europe. Or no, 2.5 more weeks in Lacoste. Like 3.5 weeks in Europe,
that
or
flew
4 weeks in
by. Oh my
Europe.
gosh. My quick recap, school, ugh. But at least, oh my gosh, last week I got a 99 on my APES test, which like for those AP tests with those multiple choice questions, was not expecting that. That's with corrections, but like still, a 99 is a 99, so I'm gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
So to start off with the rebrands, I think we should start talking about JoJo Siwa just because it's been a big thing in the pop culture world these past few weeks. And so I think
Hmm.
it's an interesting thing to talk about.
And the funny thing is, I want to say that we're like late to the game, but also I feel like people are still talking about this. Like,
No, like it's kind of been going on for a minute, but to recap, I guess, JoJo Siwa had a rebrand. She came out with her like new single, which marks the start of a new era. She's no longer kid friendly. Karma, whatever. Um, I don't know where to start on this. I guess the thing is it just feels like really forced because
yeah,
like it definitely there's rebrands where you can tell like an artist just wants to like do something new or try something new.
yeah.
Shout out Cowboy Carter. It was so good. Oh my gosh, I'm adding Bodyguard to the shout out. Cowboy Carter. It's been so long
Hmm.
since we recorded. Okay. Anyways, I just got really sidetracked there. There's a difference between a rebrand of like artistic growth and then the type of rebrand where you can tell that somebody went into a meeting with some business people, with some
Yes.
executives, and sat down and was like, do you know that Debbie Ryan thing where she's like, I met with the head of Disney Channel and I was like, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's very much like I feel like the epiphany that we're gonna get to by the end of the episode is that like there's a difference between the rebrand being so calculated versus like it being so natural that you don't even realize it while it's happening, but then you look back from like how the celebrity was like maybe like 2 years ago and you're like, whoa, this they totally like revamped themselves and nobody even noticed.
Yeah. And there have been some really cool rebrands. For example, Nicki Minaj coming freshly out of the Pink Friday Roman Reloaded era with all the heavy wigs and stuff. And I think it was that first VMA appearance where she
Hmm.
just went with like the black inches. And it was just like for the first time, it wasn't these campy wigs. And it was just really cool. And it flowed really nicely into the pink print era. But then
Hmm.
there's other rebrands, I feel like, where, an artist will just delete their entire Instagram. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then suddenly it's like, oh
Right.
my gosh, they're making a rock album. I'm just kidding. I don't know. That was a random example. I can't think of anybody who's actually done that.
I know. Actually, one of my pet peeves, like, I enjoyed it when Taylor Swift did like the deleting everything and that one time for Reputation, like, because I feel like that was did she like pioneer that or was that already a thing before?
I don't know.
I don't really know, but like, I think it worked for her because part of her brand is to do big things like that. But I hate that a lot of celebrities have like caught on to that and are doing that now because sometimes I'm sad when like a celebrity deletes their entire Instagram and it's like I just wanted to go back and look at some pictures of them from like 5 years ago. Like if Declan McKenna ever deletes his entire Instagram to announce a new album, I'm literally gonna unfollow him from everything, stop listening to his music. Like I hate him now. I'm just kidding.
And I guess a new thing is changing your album covers. Have you seen that? So, like, I guess
Who?
the first one that I saw, it was Doja Cat when her new album came out, everything turned red or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think 21 Pilots now has like a red
Mm-hmm.
streak on like all of
They
their album covers. And it's
I
so strange.
I hate that. I hate that. Like I can't even I can make a whole episode on how much I hate that. Like each individual album cover is its own like piece of art and just because they're changing their brand for a new era doesn't mean that they can just rebrand everything to match that era.
Right.
Like,
And it's pre existing work that you've made. So it's just like, leave it alone, you know?
yeah. Like an album cover is literally a piece of art. Like you can't go back and repaint the Mona Lisa because you're about to drop a new painting.
The Mona Lisa turns red. Just kidding.
Yeah, I think Doja Cat was like one of the first people to do that because when that happened, I was like, what the heck?
I
Um,
know. And then it's also funny because sometimes when they're featured on somebody else's thing and that's like one of their top songs or something, that album cover
mm-hmm,
doesn't change because obviously it's not their own. So then it just looks
mm-hmm,
awkward and it's like, what are we doing? No, and I'm
yeah,
not hating. I just am like, I don't, okay. So rebrands. Basically,
yes,
so a very common thing in Hollywood or just like the entertainment world is when somebody's been a star for so long, after a long time, people are like, okay, we're bored of them. Like we're bored of you.
Mhm.
And that's a common thing. I think a lot of female artists specifically are like expected to do something new for everything. Um,
Right.
but I think that like
That's true.
how the marketing world has responded to this boredom is just by basically taking what people like of somebody, but then changing everything else. So like it still feels like them, but it's like something new and
I'm
fresh.
trying to think, like, has this music branding always been a thing? Like, I mean, it has, but like, when has it become a thing where you are forced to like have a new era for each album, you know?
Right. Like I know some people were mad that Guts by Olivia Rodrigo had purple in the album cover because it's like purple was sour, but it's like repeat what you just said out loud and tell me like how you think that sounded because what?
Yeah. Like,
Like if she likes purple, she likes purple.
because I'm thinking, like, did the Beatles have to change their entire wardrobe because they were about to release Abbey Road? Like, I don't think so.
Who knows? I wasn't alive, so I can't give a firsthand experience of that.
Yeah. I mean, I know that music, like art direction has always been a big thing in the music industry because like, you know, there's but not to the point where it's like now it's just so I guess capitalistic that you know, they're just trying to sell stuff for the new era, so they really have to market it as like a whole concept.
Right. And have you heard about the Brit Smith Karma Jojo Siwa thing?
Yes.
Okay, so basically it got leaked a 2012 demo by this artist named Brit Smith who
Mhm.
basically sang Karma almost word for word for how JoJo's version is. And I will fully admit that like I don't think Brit Smith wrote the song either. And it is very common for pop songs. Like one of your favorite pop songs was probably a demo was probably there of like another huge pop artist
Yeah.
recording that same song.
And how like even how like Taylor Swift wrote "This Is What You Came For" by Rihanna, but it's still
Right.
like very much a Rihanna song. Like,
I don't know. This whole like bad girl phenomenon with JoJo Siwa being like, I was a bad girl. Like, I don't know. I feel like you can sort of transition from being a childhood star or just like a star in the kid world, I guess, because a lot of the JoJo Siwa stuff was, like kids were the demographic with the bows and all of that. And it was like a billion
right,
dollar brand. It is a billion-dollar brand.
right.
But I think that she can move on to this new, like, I'm an adult. My targeted demographic is no longer children. You can do that without this whole, I was a bad girl, like, whatever. And I'm not trying to hate, because I do feel like I know that, like, people in this industry are scrutinized constantly. And I don't want to seem like I'm just adding to that. But this is just my personal opinion on how
Yeah.
these sorts of switch ups feel very, very forced.
And also I want to say that like I feel like sometimes it shows that they're not really a true artist if their rebrands are being so planned out like business meeting wise and all that because like did you see the thing where Jojo Siwa was like I invented a new genre. It's called gay pop.
It's called
And
gay
it's
pop.
like I'm like pop has always been gay. What are you talking about?
Right. Like
Like
Troye Sivan is right there.
and like every giant pop star for the past 50 years. Like, what is, like, that was when I was like, she obviously doesn't really know what she's doing.
Yeah, and I don't know how to feel about all of that. There was a 2012 demo of the song, which goes to show how formulaic it is, which sounds a bit harsh, but I guess Karma is just a timeless bad girl anthem. Do you know what I mean? Because
Right.
it can be, I don't want to say recycled, but
Mm-hmm.
it can be
It's
released.
timeless.
Yeah, it can be released in 2024 and in 2012 and still have that same like
Yeah.
new bad girl era energy, but
And I do think it's a really good song. I think it's a really good pop song. Like, I think it's
like
catchy
sonically
and I
and
think it did what
lyrically,
it needs to do.
right. It is, that's what I'm saying. Like it is just a classic pop songs when people are like hearing other people sing it, they're like, oh, like it's just JoJo singing it bad. Like
Right.
it's not a bad song. Like it is just your typical pop song, you know, like the vocal production
Right.
is very heavy. And that's not just because, oh, like JoJo Siwa can't sing or whatever. This sort of vocal production and this amount of just editing and processing vocals, it's not
Mhm.
um specific to JoJo Siwa. This is just that genre of music, and it's not uncommon for that.
Yeah, and I'll also say that like I think everybody's reacting to it so extremely is because like how extreme of a switch up she made and how much she's focusing on the fact that it is a rebrand. Like obviously the music video is very like, you know, um
Yeah.
it's very like out there and I feel like she's trying a little bit too hard to be like look at this new persona whereas if she had just been normal about it, we might have been like, "Oh, this is cool." Like, yeah, she's just being herself.
Right. And you can have these sort of like gag visuals or whatever for a music video where it's just very intense and very out there. But when it feels forced, it just makes it all seem like, what? You know? And also the correlation between like being queer and being like a bad girl. Like, I don't know. I feel like owning your sexuality doesn't have to be this sort of, oh, I'm bad now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um so who are some other celebrities who have rebranded?
Um, I think that one thing I thought about was sort of when artists rebrand but go back to their roots and sort of use nostalgia as a way to rebrand. Um, and I think this is one where it definitely just shows artistic growth, but it still is an interesting example. Lady Gaga. So during like Joanne, which was a very definitely more of a raw album compared to Art Pop, Born This Way, and the
Yes.
Fame, and also her jazz stuff too, which that just goes to show that she really is just out here exploring music. Um, but you know, I think a lot of people will use sort of that, like when she went back for Chromatica and that was a dance album. That definitely was not a forced rebrand, but I think that a lot of artists are using like sort of their roots to rebrand.
Right. And it's just kind of like doing what you want and it shows that like you've even though you might change like genres or styles, like you're still the same artist. Same with like any type of artist can do that where they can go between styles, but everything still has that, that personality that shows that they're like them.
Right. And that can be a really good thing for artistic growth sometimes because going back to where you started, you know, back to a time where you weren't creating for people. Like, I guess with Nicki Minaj going back to Pink Friday, like, if she had to sort of channel that very beginning of her career, that debut album moment, if she had to
Mhm.
channel that for her fifth album, you know, like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm. Yeah.
And now I sound hypocritical because I'm like saying all this and I'm like, but this isn't bad. Here's the Nicki Minaj example. But no, I love Pink Friday too.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that's a really good example. Even like Lana Del Rey has slowly been evolving with like, because she used to do very much like, I don't know how to explain it, but she's gone more into like the dark, um, slower
Acoustic.
acoustic, and then now she's releasing her quote unquote country album, which will probably be like more of like a gothic country style, and it's still like her, but it's like a new style.
For sure. And I think what a lot of artists would do, or a lot of record labels would try to capitalize off of, they would try to have her have another Born to Die moment and be like, okay,
Mhm.
get in the studio and make something more poppy and try to recreate a summertime sadness
Mhm.
just to sort of rebrand and use that nostalgia of her early career to boost her current career. But I think it is very
Mhm.
like respectable when artists just do their own thing. And you can tell
Yeah.
because artistic integrity is real and it shows.
And I feel like that's when you're gonna actually get a hit is when you just do your thing and it like naturally comes and you create something that's like really cool and unique.
Right. Because with JoJo Siwa, you know, this. first single may have been something that a lot of people are talking about, which I'm sure was the goal. Um, but with her second single, like she can't just keep releasing bad girl anthems. She's gonna have to like establish herself as an artist and sort of
Mm-hmm.
decide what that looks like. And I
Right.
think that'll be interesting and like obviously wish her the best. Hope that that goes good. But I just think with these rebrands, and I keep using her as an example, once again, not specifically coming for her, it's just fresh on my mind. But I think
Yeah.
that a lot of these rebrands don't work in the long run, and that's why artists keep having to rebrand themselves year after
Oh,
year.
wait, we could talk about this. Like, I feel like I keep talking about Grimes recently and like all the podcasts. And like I haven't listened to her in a bit, but I was listening to her a lot like a month ago. Um, but there's this like thing going around on TikTok that was like R.I.P. Grimes, you would have loved Grimes. And people are saying that like she's changed so much after dating Elon Musk. Um, but like I honestly like kind of disagree. Like I feel like she's the same person and she like I'm not surprised by her and Elon Musk. Like I feel like she's very much a she just is like a sci-fi, like she's very into like sci-fi aesthetics and all that, and like Elon Musk is literally like a creator of AI. Like what else do you expect? That's just another thing I was thinking about is like or like she didn't even have a rebrand, but like people judge her for supposedly being different, but I don't really think she changed.
Like people aren't changing all that much. It's just you're expecting something that's not really that person.
Yeah. And like and that just shows that you don't actually like know people fully because like I don't think she changed at all. I think we just saw another side of her when she started dating Elon Musk.
Honestly, when I think of really successful rebrands, I think about a lot of social media or like YouTubers, like Emma
Mhm.
Chamberlain. It's
Mm,
so graceful.
that's a
The
good
fact that
one.
she can go from just like consistently making vlogs, and now she hosts the Met Gala basically every year. And I feel like nobody,
I
I mean, of
know.
course, there's always those comments, but I feel like nobody is hating that much. Like, I feel like everyone can respect like why she's there and like because she does such a good job and it feels true to her, but it's definitely something different.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can go from just drinking coffee and vlogs to having a well-established coffee company at this point, it's really
Mhm.
impressive. And because Chamberlain Coffee, like, is here to stay, I fear. It's common sense, I
Yeah.
fear. Um,
Also Rihanna's Fenty brand, of course, like that's that's just like her thing now. Like she doesn't really make music anymore, but people have accepted that that's just like her now.
I think it's been in the talks though, and that's something that I was wondering about. Do you think she's gonna do a full pop moment? You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what a lot
Mhm.
of the earlier albums, that was their sound and a lot of those radio hits.
Mhm.
Or I feel like Anti was more of R&B, just kind of like some more like drawn back,
Mm.
slower
Yeah.
beats, which I love that album. So I'm just really
Yeah.
curious. I think that obviously knowing Rihanna, she's not gonna let somebody tell her what to make. So I think that her rebrand is just gonna be like a take it or leave it, like if you vibe with it, you vibe with it. If you don't, like
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I actually can't decide if I think it would be back to the pop thing and everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, like pop is so back, or if it's gonna be like something very different that we haven't heard yet from her and yeah, and you take it if you want, if you like it. That's
right.
interesting.
Also, Alicia Marie, she's just like mastered evolving on social media.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she was one of the lifestyle girlies during the saturation era and she slowly like evolved
She's like
with the
pioneer, yeah.
times.
She's another like pioneer of the YouTube evolution. Like not really like I wouldn't say she's like pioneered YouTube styles so much else than the saturation era, but like she's gone with the flow of YouTube.
And has like mastered it. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like she's still like, she acts her age, I guess, you know what I mean?
Right.
But she
She
still has,
just
like,
yeah.
moved along with how social media is moving, but it
Right.
doesn't feel forced. It just feels like a natural growth and, like, I don't know. Also,
Yeah.
like, I know a lot of people are starting podcasts, full hate and shout out to us.
Yeah, we started a podcast a year ago, so we're like OG.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
literally calling us out here, but, like, Pretty Basic was one of, like, the first YouTuber podcasts.
Yeah, I feel like that was the first time where I had heard a podcast that I didn't think was like for old people, because I used to think podcasts were just things that like old people listened to.
I
Or
love
just
Alicia
like,
and Remy. They just, like, they
yeah,
create the flow and go with the flow and just
yeah,
gracefully waltz their way through social media, and I love.
yeah. We kind of touched on this with like Lana Del Rey's country flip, but like Beyonce's country path. Like I feel like a lot of people are doing their like little country rebrand recently, which I wouldn't say Beyonce's is like a full rebrand, of course, but um that's
Beyonce's is
also
just, like, exploration, I feel like.
yeah, and it's really good. I really like
So
that album.
good.
and and it worked really well because she didn't make a huge deal about it. It was just like, oh, this is what it is now.
Right, because I think that she's so revolutionary to where she doesn't have to black out her entire feed and then post, like, a cowboy hat or something, you know what I mean? Like, she
Right.
doesn't really have to do that because I think that everything she does is just so, like, it does feel
Like
really
everyone, like
natural.
people will just accept whatever she does.
Right, like, she doesn't
Not
have an
not in like a
agenda.
blindly, yeah, not in like a blindly following her way like Swifties, but
Ooh.
um sorry. I am I I feel like I'm like it's funny. I'm always like making fun of Swifties, but I am a Taylor Swift fan. Um
Right, like, I feel like Beyoncé doesn't have an agenda, but she has a message. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a very big difference between that.
mm, mhm.
Like, a lot of times it's just like, I have something I need to say to the world, whether they wanna hear it or not. And then there's
Mhm.
the, "Oh my gosh, guys, listen to this. Isn't this so groundbreaking and different for me?" Like, oh my gosh. Um,
Yeah.
but also I think Cowboy Carter, I have heard things that it was supposed to come before Renaissance, but then I think she
Mm.
wanted to, like, completely finish it and stuff, and she kinda said, like, with Renaissance, people need to, we're coming out of the pandemic, people need to dance, like, here's this.
Uh-huh.
And then I guess
Yeah.
the third album, or, like, the theory is that, it's gonna be maybe, like, rock, and she's just, like, reclaiming
Mm.
all of the genres that have, like, roots in Black artists.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
see, it's like that, like, she has a message, but that's, like, not something that I feel like you sit down with, like, the head of a record label and be like, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do." Like, that feels very
Yeah,
innovative
it
and
seems like she
explorative.
yeah, it's like it's the difference between like she came up with the idea on her own and then brought it to the business meeting versus going to a business meeting with no ideas in mind and brainstorming like what are we going to do, you know?
Right.
Oh, what about like Miley Cyrus?
Oh, and there's, like, rumors that Karma was for Miley Cyrus, which is crazy.
Oh.
Or that she
Yeah, cuz
originally, like, had something to do with the writing of it, but then, like, withdrew her credit, which
yeah.
that's interesting. That's all speculation,
Actually,
so I have
I
no
feel like
idea.
I feel like we could make a whole nother episode about Disney stars rebranding. Like
Oh my
we should have
gosh.
realized this earlier on in the episode, but yeah, like Demi Lovato, Miley Cyrus, Bridget Mendler's rebrand from actor to PhD, um, because she's literally iconic.
Love that.
Ariana Grande. I mean, all the Disney stars kind of have to rebrand. Like Jeanette McCurdy, her rebrand into more of a like public figure of.
Yes. Oh, Demi Lovato did have a rock rebrand. That was honestly fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and definitely you can see that her sort of aesthetic and just, like, presence on social media definitely changed with that album and became more of that classic rock vibe, but I think it was still fun and worked because I think she's a good voice for rock, and also, I guess some of her early albums, were more, I guess, like, rock, like, Don't Forget, like, the kinda that Disney Channel, like, angsty rock vibes, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it wasn't
The
something
Disney
completely.
punk.
Right. And that's literally a genre. It wasn't something completely
Disney
new,
punk.
or not like new, but something completely recycled. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
it was recycled, but I mean, every artist rebrands at some point, especially,
Mm-hmm.
with One Direction or like Fifth Harmony or like
Mm.
Little Mix, like all of the groups.
Ooh,
Or I
yeah,
guess
that's
Little
a good one
Mix.
too.
Is
Like,
Little Mix
or
still
like,
together?
I don't know, like Camila Cabello's rebrand into herself. All the rebrands of people who were in bands or groups and going into their solo careers. Like when Harry Styles released Sign of the Times, that was a huge thing, I remember.
Right. Wait, what was the thing with Normani where people were thinking that she like made her own fan page or something like that?
Yeah, no, she did. Normani has her own fan page, and people realized it because she posted a screenshot of like something, and I forget the details, but like something in the screenshot proved that it was her own phone or that she had the account.
And it
Like,
entailed something about, I think she blacked out her Instagram, right? Or something like that.
yes, yeah, she blacked out her Instagram, and then the fan account posted, OMG, Normani blacked out her Instagram because nobody noticed because nobody cares. Um,
Oh,
I mean, people care, but like, not, and she doesn't have the type of fans that are probably like constantly refreshing to see if she's, and obviously, why would we check? Because she hasn't done anything in 5 years. But yeah, people
I
found
thought
out that
that
she
debut
she
album was
ran
coming a
her
lot
own.
sooner, I'm not gonna
Yeah, what
lie.
the heck? Has she announced the date?
I honestly think her first single might have dropped. Or not, or like,
Oh
because I
yeah.
thought for sure that Motivation was like the one, and like that was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, she did release a single from it.
Okay, I have to listen to it. Or wait, I might have listened to it. I don't remember. What's it called?
It's called 159.
Oh, okay, I didn't listen to it.
But yeah, and that's all speculation, but it is possible that artists have, you know, purposely tried to get people to know about their rebrand coming soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for her. Like she probably did that and was expecting people to immediately be like, "Oh my gosh," and then nobody did.
And
But like,
honestly, I've
why?
been rooting
But
for
like,
her. Like I remember when Motivation came out, like I thought the debut was on its way.
mm-hmm.
And then it took some time, and then she released that
Yeah.
one song. I think it was like, oh yeah, Wild Side. No thoughts.
Mm.
No comment.
But yeah, that is interesting. It's just like I definitely believe more in the natural rebrand into evolution side of things than the calculated rebrand, which I'm sure most people also agree.
Yeah, and I feel like there are some artists who have seamlessly, you know, transitioned into new eras or whatever it's called, whatever the kids are calling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of it has been calculated. Like I'm sure a lot of artists do sit down and are like, okay, like this is the vibe of the new album, therefore I need to start dropping hints and dressing like the color scheme of it. Like I get that. And from like a marketing
Yeah,
perspective, like
I think that's fun. Like I like the Taylor Swift Easter egg thing. Like I think that's fun.
right, like it's just art direction. It's definitely creating more jobs within that industry
Yeah,
for sure.
which like I literally like I want to go into art direction for the music industry. I think, and so that it's interesting to me.
I would love to be like a creative director because I honestly do. I kind of love like when I do see an artist rebranding and when it seems very forced.
Hmm.
Sometimes I still am like, okay, but like the
Actually, yeah,
visuals,
you would be a really good creative director. We should make a business. We should start
we've talked
a
about this, I
business.
think,
Oh,
but we should.
like yeah, because yeah, oh yeah, we did talk about this because we were like we have all the skills combined.
Right. And I was saying how, like, maybe before working on, you know, films and stuff, like doing music, like editing music videos,
Yes,
I would,
I would.
I would eat that up. I'm
I
sorry.
would love to be a music video director too.
That would be
Which is
fun because
why,
I do love, like, I love that moment when somebody releases a new single and it's like, wow. Like, when I heard
yeah.
Yes and by Ariana Grande and that sort of beat dropped, I was kind of just like, you know, like she did that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you can just tell when it's gonna be like a thing. Like you can just tell when it's
Right. Like
right.
I remember when I was listening to Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish, like the album,
Yes.
I was thinking to myself, this is the new Billie Eilish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you listen to it and you're like, this is the
Yeah.
songs
Speaking
that like
of, yes.
May
Yeah.
17th.
I'm so excited. It's so soon.
I
Oh,
know.
what the heck? Wait, I forgot how soon it was.
I know.
And Cage the Elephant and Billie Eilish have the same album, or not the same album, have albums coming out the same day, and then Wallows and 21 Pilots have albums coming out the same day.
Oh my
Like we're so
gosh.
back.
The girlies are releasing music.
Mm-hmm. The
I don't know
girlies.
what the moral of this story or this episode was because I feel like such a hater, but I think I'm also just like slightly opinionated and love to yap. So this is the result of that.
Yeah, and that's the point of podcasts is being slightly opinionated and liking to yap. So
Because I'm not going to go in JoJo Siwa's comments and hate because I honestly like, if it's not for me, it's not for me. Like scroll. Um, but I think this is an interesting topic to talk about. And
mm-hmm.
she's been a recent conversation. So
Yeah, and
I
it's
wanted to talk
definitely
about
in
that.
it. I just feel like it fits in with everything we've talked about like when things are forced and like when social media and like just how social media has become social media and art has become so like capitalistic to where people can't just make art anymore.
Exactly. But
It's just so interesting.
moral of the story, go stream Cowboy Carter.
Yes. And all the other things, but not karma. Well, do what you want.
See, I'm not a hater. I just like
Yeah. I
I'm
do
not
think
gonna
yeah.
I'm not gonna hate watch. Like I see what she tried to do, you know what I mean? Like I see the direction she was going.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, let me know or let us know your thoughts on that on our Instagram at the Telepathy Pod. Because I think like everyone has a different view of it and a different take on it. And like that's okay,
Mm-hmm.
but it is still interesting
And
to hear different
yeah,
perspectives.
DM us or comment to us about if you are thinking of any other celebrities that have rebranded and like that are interesting because we'd love to like talk about it with you. We will DM you back if you DM us. Just saying. Um,
Yes. And I'm announcing my rebrand, newest shifting video coming this Friday. I'm just kidding.
going back to your roots.
Yes. The way that's crossed my
Um,
mind. I'm such a hypocrite.
you when you like need money,
Okay,
like
let's not go there. I'm just kidding.
um,
I
but
did
yeah,
think
that
about doing
was
like a shifting in 2023 video because I had that idea last year, like as a
oh my
joke, like with just
gosh.
the once for the memes. But then I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
That would be funny, but like it's
But
like,
like
do
I'm
you want
proving
to
my
get
own
back
point.
into
I'm
that?
literally
Yeah,
proving my
I
own
know.
point.
Like, don't. Yeah. Um, if this podcast episode gets one listen, and so we'll do a shifting in 2024 video.
Yep.
Hopefully, my
Okay, so
mom
thank
isn't
you
listening to
so
this.
yes. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next Tuesday, hopefully, for another episodes of the Bad Girls podcast. I mean telepathy. Wait, shoot, I accidentally exposed our rebrand coming up.
Shoot. Okay, you can just cut that out.
Yeah. It's
You want
so
to just
weird. Like,
redo? Do you want to just redo that take?
yeah. We'll see you next week for another episode of Telepathy.
Yes, we will. Yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll be back with possibly the 50th episode, but we have to check because we
This
forgot.
might be the 50th. No,
I
49,
don't think
48.
this one is. Wait, I can just look. Hold on. Let me look real quick before we
You
end the
can.
episode. Well, I mean, but we have, because we have like, I put the number of the episode on each,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, no, this is episode 48, so we have 2 more.
Okay, so in 2 months. And I'm just kidding. We're not a monthly podcast. So we will see you next Tuesday to rest.
That was funny.
Anyways, thank you so much for listening and coming to this yap session because I don't know what I just said.
We just recorded for a long time.
I know. Okay, bye.
Bye.